Quran is in its own category, unique. It can't be compared to the Bible. It cannot be compared to Bhagavad Gita or any sacred scripture of any previous tradition, nor can it be compared to any book written by the secular traditions. So this is the first thing. One has to recognize that when one goes to the Quran, one is going to a unique book. And the first thing, also another thing.
Why is it unique, though?
Well, I'm going to get into that. I think also to recognize that it is a Quran before it's a kitab. It is an oral tradition before it's a written tradition. And there's things to recognize about oral tradition by their nature. One, oral tradition, the
linguistics,
No, in the oral tradition, the ear is what is designated, not the eye. In the linear tradition of writing, the eye is what is being designated. The oral tradition is to the ear.
To the ear.
And because of that, it is nonlinear. This is the first thing. The ear, by its nature, is a nonlinear organ. It takes in its entire surrounding sounds. The eye is a linear organ. It moves in, it focuses on through linear process. And so this is the first thing. The Quran is not linear by its nature, although there's obviously linear elements. I mean, because it can't be just, this nonsensical. No, they're randomness, yeah. But to the untrained eye, which is the linear eye, it does appear to be quite random. And this is why Westerners have been notoriously confounded by the Quran. If you look at
but that may be also their own mindset and their own conditioning is towards a very structured.
Well, this is my whole point.
Right.
They're going to it with a certain expectation that it's going to be like the Bible. In the beginning, God created, and then boom, you get the history of the Israeli people, and then the New Testament are linear biographies of Jesus, right? And the Acts of the Apostles, all of these things. It's written clearly by a left-brained type creature, which is the human being who tends to write in linear forms. The Quran does not. The Quran moves from I to we to you to me. Fascinating, the perspectives, because there is no one perspective. It's multi-perspective. And this is because from the Muslim perspective, it's from God. And God is not encompassed, but God encompasses
everything.
And this is why the Quran is all-encompassing in its approach, and it forces you in a very powerful, shattering psychological perspective to be confronted with multiple perspectives. So it tells you what the non-Muslims say, it tells you what the hypocrites say, it tells you what the Muslims say, and then it tells you what God says. It's moving and shifting constantly. And so if you submit to the book, then you'll get something out of it. If you don't submit to the book, you won't. And I think that's really important for Western people to know. If you look just to a little more here, the very first chapter outside of the Fatiha, which is the opening, or the opener, the very first chapter is Baqarah, which begins Alif Lam Mim. If you look at any translation or interpretation of Quran, they say God knows what that means. So the book itself is beginning with 3 letters that nobody knows what they mean except God. And this is part of the demand of the Quran, that you have to submit to and recognize that your knowledge is limited.
Right.
And if you submit